Hey guys, welcome to a new video and happy new year. We're gonna quickly go through Bitcoin, Ethereum and few altcoins, mostly keeping it on the higher time frame because I'm also recording this on Saturday, so it's 2 days before you're seeing this. But for the higher time frame, that shouldn't matter too much, and we're gonna mostly talk about the upcoming ETF, which is scheduled to be the deadline is the 10th of January, but we're expected to have a decision by like 8 to 10 January, which is what the ETF specialists were saying. So let's dive straight into it. Firstly, I just did a poll and I asked my followers, what are you expecting the moment the news gets released? We're assuming the ETF is getting approved by now. Obviously, it's not like 100%, but the odds are pretty high. So for this example, we're just assuming it gets approved. So most of you, and I think this makes sense as it's the most logical answer and the thing that's been being circled a lot around crypto Twitter. Most of you are expecting we're going to go up on the news. So we're seeing the approval, then we're going to spike up. And then we're going to go lower after. So it's going to be like a sell the news. So that's basically this scenario, roughly. Obviously, these levels are just an estimation. But something like this is what we've been watching for a while. So we're going to chop around here. Well, we've been doing that. Then we get the approval. We spike up. Who knows how high, and then from there on out we'll sell off again because, well, sell the news. One thing, like, this seems very logical also to me, and was my base case for a while, but only thing that's worrying me for this scenario is the fact that like most people seem to think this way, so it's yet to be seen how it's actually gonna go. Usually history tells us that when everyone is expecting something to be a sell the news, that it actually doesn't become one and we just go up regardless. That has happened a lot in crypto as well. Similar to all these big altcoin unlocks, for example. Usually price either just runs up into it and continues up afterwards, or it sells into it, and then once the unlock actually happens, everyone has already sold, and then after that it just goes up. Obviously, this is very different in terms of it being Bitcoin and it's being such a big event. So yeah, I don't really have a strong guess right now. I do think most of the ETF in the short term has been priced in, and I do think that the people that would want to front run it have done so by now. I don't think people are gonna buy now to for this ETF approval, as it's like the odds are pretty high, so people should be positioned already, and they're probably gonna either look to buy any dip afterwards, or they're gonna sell into any next pump. I think that's gonna be the main thing. But having said that, I think the fact that we're stalling here, a lot of people have already front run this sell the news, so the actual selling afterwards might not even be that great, which therefore could cause us to go up regardless. Anyways, regardless of what is gonna happen, we'll see. I would just play the chart, play the levels, and if we see downside somewhere in Q1, something like this, these are the main levels I would be watching out for. So definitely like 37 to 38k would be a level I would definitely look to deploy stables again on BTC or probably ETH. I'm more a fan of ETH after this ETF approval, and we're gonna have to ETH in a bit. In case we do go even deeper, which honestly, like from this recent top to here, 28-29%, it's not that crazy for Bitcoin. I mean, usually we get like 30 or 40% corrections in a big bull run, and it happens quite a few times, and then eventually price just keeps going. So in case we do get here like 32, 33-ish, I think that would be a great level. I mean, just a lot of confluence with these areas. You still make a nice higher low, and overall, I really like this level. So I'm not saying we will get there. I'm only saying, like, if we get there, I will personally be looking to deploy more capital at those areas. Obviously, we might just keep going up, and then we'll see. The entire chart changes, and at some point we will get a dip, but then the levels would have changed as well. To easily journal and track your trades, consider trying out Coin Market Manager. It's as simple as connecting your exchange API to the website to get your analytics ready. Sign up using the link below, get a 14-day trial, and I hope you really enjoy it. I know I've been using it for a while and I can't go without at this point. Heading on to a bit lower time frame for now, just really quickly to show you how we've been consolidating in this range, which is basically what we've been doing all this time on the way up. So obviously 25k, this was a big area and we chopped around for a long time, then we finally took off. So the first range we had, and I'll remove this real quick, was here. So we basically, it wasn't that clean. I mean, we didn't touch the lower range again, but we were trading between like 33 and 36, broke out, had a quick flush afterwards, but then again, we basically went into this range. This wick went a bit lower on spot, and we traded between like 35 and 38. And then from there on out, we were entering this range where we're in right now, which is approximately 40 to 44 and a half. So I would just say whatever happens with this ETF, just watch these kind of levels. If this is lower time frame, of course, but let's say ETF happens, we spike up, but we reject here. That would obviously not be great. And then from there on out, who knows, maybe it loses the range. And then obviously this would be a good sign that the momentum or like the local top might be in. And with local top, of course, I mean literally local top. Like, I'm not calling for the top. I think this cycle has a long way to go. But yeah, eventually, obviously, we're gonna get these corrections in between. And I think somewhere in Q1 of next year, so in the next few months, I think we will see some cooling off. But I do think that will mostly be Bitcoin. I think also will join initially if Bitcoin falls, of course. But I think we're gonna, which is something we've already been seeing, and we're gonna see some conversion of Bitcoin into alts. So Bitcoin has been the king for a long time, which we can see on the Bitcoin dominance. I mean, it bottomed here in September of 2022. It rallied all the way until just recently December, like a few weeks ago. And now we did see a bit of a fall because mainly ETH rallied, but this has basically been in an uptrend for 1.5 years almost. So quite insane. And yeah, I think there's like a lot of gains to be taken back by alts relative to BTC. Heading on to ETH. Well, we did break out, and this is like the most important level here. It's being held so far, but we've also swept this high here and we rejected again. Basically, this is also just in a big range, so it's pretty clear. I would just watch this as the range. Obviously, this is the level to hold. Higher time frame support level down at like 2140, 2130-ish, and then 2400 is where we keep selling off for now. But I mean, overall, obviously, we're seeing an uptrend. I would want to see this hold this level on the higher time frames, and eventually I do think we'll just close this gap to like 2700, but this will depend on BTC as well. But I do think ETH will be stronger than BTC for the time to come after the ETF. I think it just makes sense because the narrative from the BTC ETF will be done. We're already seeing Bitcoin dominance turn around a bit, and we'll also have this ETH spot ETF, which will likely be the next narrative. So it makes sense that people will start focusing on that and positioning for that for the time to come. Even though I think that the ETH ETF will be far gone. Like it's gonna take at least a year, if not much more, because so far the SEC hasn't even decided yet if this is a commodity or not. So let them figure that out first. But I mean, meanwhile, it's a nice narrative to go by, and I think it will help ETH in 2024 and 25. Then ETH-BTC still hovering around this range low here. It did sweep the local lows, but it didn't quite sweep the June 22 lows just yet. Could be that we just front run it. The main confirmation I want to see on ETH is basically us breaking approximately this high here, like this, or this diagonal. You could also this more clear actually. Get it from the top. And then with that, we also have the daily 200 MA and EMA, which are basically gliding along this trend line. So to really get confirmation that this has seen a local bottom, I do want to see this break above here. And then we have these, which will trend down for a while, which we're trending above. So that's a nice trend change as well as the trend line. And I think that would be good, give some good confirmation that ETH BTC is ready to move up. So this is ETH relative to Bitcoin. And this could technically just move up if Bitcoin goes down as well. If ETH outperforms BTC while BTC is consolidating, which I think makes a lot of sense coming into 2024. But yeah, who knows? Maybe Bitcoin spikes up a lot on the ETF approval, and we might see like one more spike down to really take out everyone's stops or whatever, or make them really fearful, and then from there on out we can move up. Something like this is not something I'm ruling out. But for now, I'm mainly just waiting. I mean, I'm fine with waiting until we trade approximately here, because from here on out, it's not even 10%. And once this happens, you get a lot more confirmation and higher probability that this is actually going up and that you're not just buying in this downtrend, which still continues further down. So I will probably allocate some BTC into ETH if we get the sweep and we bounce. So we get this June 2022 sweep, something like this, and we bounce, then I'll start buying some here. And if not, and we just go up, I'll probably just buy upon breaking above this trend line and the daily 200 MA and EMA. Then Bitcoin dominance. We talked about this for a bit. It's good to see this trading below 52% again. I'm curious to see what will happen with this around the ETF. I would assume if we do spike up on BTC, I think this will spike up as well. But I think it's gonna be very short-lived, and that after the ETF, people will start allocating into alts more than in BTC. So could very well be that this top is already in, because this is quite a move now. Still, if it has to spike this high, obviously it's Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does something crazy and goes up like 50% in a week, then I do think we'll head to this blue zone. But for now, I think it's best to just wait and see. And I do think that like the real alt season will start once we get back below this range. So we can already see how well alts do with such a short move here, which is mainly led by ETH. But if this really starts trending down over time, just like it did here throughout 2020 and mostly 2021, this is where the real gains are made on altcoins. And eventually I do think we'll get something like this, but probably not this much just yet. I think that will only happen somewhere in 2025, and I think 24 will more likely be something like this, depending on what the market does, of course. But I do think this will probably top out locally pretty soon, if it hasn't already. Then the total market cap, very clean. I don't think you need much more levels than these. We did retest this, which is a similar level as we saw with ETH. If you can see here, like pretty similar. So this is the total market cap. As long as this level is being held, I think this is heading to this next level. I mean, makes a lot of sense. Obviously, technical analysis on this as itself doesn't make much sense, but it does show you very well like how the trend is going and how the market is behaving. I do think eventually we're gonna see some crazy wicks or whatever here with some shakeouts, but like something like this could still be perfectly fine, you know, and then just get a quick recovery. It's something we're seeing a lot during big bull markets usually. And then Solana, this thing has like outperformed all expectations, even from the most bullish people. This candle before this week was just insane. I mean, from the low to the high, well, to this recent high, was like almost a 2x in 1 or 2 weeks on this size, like this market cap. That's crazy. You can see how we're rejecting for now, and I think these are the main levels to watch for. So we have this intermediary level here at like 115. I think the big level to watch out for is 137 to 147, because this is where it basically rejected back like on the first dead cat bounce in last bear market, and where we also bounced in initially here near the end of last bull market. So I think this is an important level. I don't think we're gonna test there just yet, especially now with this correction. I do think if we get dips here down into this blue region, or blue, this green region, I think that if we just hold here, we consolidate a bit, and it starts showing some strength, I think that would be a very nice level to watch out for the higher time frame view. Because basically this has, unless you count this as like a leg up, but it kind of looks like this is the first major leg up, and then you get some kind of correction, and then from there on out you probably head higher. So yeah, I'm mostly watching this myself for Solana, and I think if we get there, it's probably gonna look scary and all, because from there on out, then we'd be down like 40-ish%. People are gonna be bearish, and it's probably gonna look like it's gonna break down and retrace the entire thing. But I mean, as long as it's just consolidating there, showing some strength, holding the support, I think that's kind of the things you want to look out for, and probably give some good buying opportunities on these kind of coins in the long term. And then lastly, Arbitrum. This thing has been so choppy, but it's finally moving a bit, and that's only thanks to ETH moving. It's pretty clear that all these kind of moves, and also the ETH DeFi coins, they just don't move unless ETH moves. So Optimism made an all-time high already. Arbitrum isn't quite there yet. Similar to like a lot of coins like Lido, all these kind of coins, they are relatively strong now, but it's only because ETH started moving, and that just shows how all these coins are so connected to each other. And while they weren't in favor at all by the market, now when ETH starts to show some strength, all of a sudden these coins are moving a lot, while they were just kind of doing nothing meanwhile. And this as well, coins like Solana were doubling or tripling in a few weeks, you know. I will say, like, if ETH keeps showing strength and these coins will likely stay strong, then other coins that were recently stronger might just cool off a bit, which makes sense, and then we'll see those rotations you tend to see. So let's say ETH just takes off, then I could see a good case where people reallocate or like rotate their Solana into ETH again, because they're like, okay, I made so much on Solana here. Well, I hope they make money, and then now it looks like it's ETH's turn again. I'll rotate my Solana into ETH, and then months later the opposite happens again, and that's how you keep these rotations going. It does seem like the market isn't that strong yet, where everything can pop at once, because what we just saw last week is where ETH moves, BTC is kind of weak, and coins like Solana are kind of weak, because ETH and all its ETH ecosystem coins like these layer 2s and whatnot, they were strong, so there wasn't enough capital to also keep sustaining the bid on these other coins, and then you kind of get this rotation, which we have seen last week. With that, I think that was all. I'm very curious as to what is going to happen around this ETF. We'll see. No one really knows. Everyone is doing all these guesses, but I do know one thing, and that it's going to be volatile, which is not that hard of a guess. Just be careful on the leverage. Like, don't even try to trade these kind of moves with like high leverage or whatever. It can go wrong, and like even in a time where you enter a trade and all of a sudden the market moves against you, and during this volatility there's going to be like these hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars moves, and before you can even set a stop loss, for example, you will already liquidate your account. So really be careful. I would say spot and chill is the way to go here. And yeah, I mean, just let's see what's going to happen. Regardless of what happens in the short term, I think this ETF will be massive in the long run. And I think 2024 will be great because of it. And also due to the halving, of course. And you have all these rate cuts and whatnot. I do think right now the market is kind of optimistic, also in traditional finance with the stocks and stuff. I think also there we're probably going to see some kind of dip at some point, but I don't think it's going to be anything major. I mean, there's still seems to be a lot of sidelined people. and people with money on the sideline just waiting to buy any dip. So I think any dip in the S&P of like 10% or so should probably already be embraced. And yeah, it does feel like the Federal Reserve and US government just wants to keep this thing going, especially into the elections later this year. So yeah, all that I think is gonna really benefit BTC as well and just crypto as a whole. So exciting times to come. I hope 2024 will be great for all of us, and I hope 2023 was already great. And if not, let's make it better in 24. And yeah, I wish you all the best, and take care. Bye bye.